What is going on, everybody? Welcome back to the Itz Gametime podcast. My name is Jett, and with me, as always, is my co-host Eric. Eric, how you doing today?
I'm doing pretty well. I think I'm gonna have to carry the energy today. That intro is kind of saddening, depressing. So
I was we've been doing this for 38 now. This is 39 episodes. That's the most enthusiastic I've seen you to start an episode.
I've been enthusiastic every episode. I've been the enthusiasm. And today's episode is Larry Csonka.
Larry Csonka, Dolphins all-time great. He's in the Hall of Fame. He was part of that perfect team. By the way, the Dolphins are still the only team in NFL history to have a perfect record from the start of the season all the way to the Super Bowl. Don't think it will ever happen again, but it's a credit to the great history that this Dolphins franchise is made of, and hopefully we'll make more memories down the line.
Yeah, there weren't a lot of choices, guys, for number 39, so that's who we had to go with. Sadly.
Which is it's not sad at all. I mean, we're going with a Hall of Fame player. While you wanted to go with Carl Hubbard and Kermit Alexander and, Jeremy Grant, we went with a Hall of Famer that has really...
Come on, Jeremy Grant has Hall of Fame potential.
Yeah, Hall of Fame potential, yeah. Yeah, 5% chance he gets into the Hall of Fame.
5% chance she gets into the Hall of Fame. But we're past now the divisional round. We're on to the conference championships. It was arguably the best divisional round in NFL history. Every game came down to 3 of the 4 came down to a field goal.
Yeah, and then the other one was obviously
it was an OT.
Yeah,
but to get there came down to a field goal that Patrick Mahomes apparently now 13 seconds left is too much time for Patrick Mahomes. While for Dak Prescott, 14 seconds is not enough.
That's right. Yeah. I mean, these divisional playoff games were as good as we've ever seen and probably will ever see. I think going forward, it'll be very hard to top. Just going through the games, the Bengals game was obviously one off of an Evan McPherson game-winning field goal to beat the number 1 seed Titans, and then another number 1 seed team lost in the Packers that night as Robbie Gould knocked down a game-winning field goal against the Packers. Let's start with those Saturday night games, because in that 49ers-Packers game, there was really very little offense in that one. The game was largely won because of the lack of play by the Green Bay Packers special teams and the taking advantage of it by the San Francisco 49ers. Obviously, that was the difference in that game.
Yeah, I mean, going back to the Bengals game, Joe Burrow, man, he's a bad man. I mean, he didn't have a TD, but he still threw for 348 yards. A lot of the Saturday games were all defense. Then the Sunday games is when the offense came to show out. The game I think the Sunday games are really the ones to talk about. Rams, we were watching that live. Rams Buck, it was 27-3, and I was saying it's gonna happen. I was saying that by right when it was 27-3, I was like, we've been here and it's gonna happen again. And there were some skeptics among us while watching it. And then that fumble by Cam Akers.
Yeah. Then he had another botch snap by the center on the Rams.
Right when that happened, like, it's happening.
Cooper Kupp also had a fumble.
Yeah, I said, it's happening.
Yeah.
It's happening. And then Tom Brady's throwing TDs, and I was like, it's happening.
Yeah. The Rams gave the Buccaneers too many chances to come back in this game, and if they do that same thing in the game this week against the 49ers, they will not win that game. Obviously, for Tom Brady and the Buccaneers, they had a lot of things going against them, and they were able to play as well as they can with the situation they were given. They were missing their Pro Bowl offensive lineman, Tristan Wirfs. Pro Bowl wide receiver, and Chris Godwin and a bunch of other guys. But that line was not helping Tom Brady at all. Aaron Donald and Von Miller were able to come around the edge on both sides each time and pressure Tom Brady. That was ended up being the difference in the game. I think if Tom Brady had a cleaner pocket, I think the Buccaneers probably win this game. But we do have to give credit to the Rams, especially Matthew Stafford, who coming into these playoffs hadn't won a playoff game, and now he has won 2 straight, and he's looking very promising for potentially playing in a home Super Bowl if they take care of business this week.
Yeah. Well, the final play before the field goal of not the final play, but one of the last plays before the field goal is that Cooper Kupp streaking down the middle of the field, and you put Winfield on him in solo coverage.
That
you're putting a safety on the best wide receiver this year.
Apparently, the coverage that was called for that play was like a cover 0 blitz, which in that situation, you have a feeling when you have probably one of the best receivers now in the game in Cooper Kupp, and you have one of the hottest quarterbacks at the moment in Matthew Stafford, you knew that was doomed for failure on the Bucs end, and the Rams definitely took advantage of it. They marched right down that field, and they won the game with towards the end of that quarter. So they really showed they were the better team for most of that game. Obviously, they had a few mistakes that could have potentially really hurt their chances at advancing, but they will be in the conference championship game.
Both of these QBs carried their team in the game. Stafford had 4 turnovers but he still performed very well. Throws for about 370 and 2 TDs, only had 2 sacks. Brady had to do everything he could to put the Bucs in a position to succeed, because the Bucs just were dropping passes. I mean, Brady did throw, I think, in like the third or early fourth quarter, an interception that was costly, but he was trying everything he could to get things working. But the Bucs just came out just flat, and like it looked like a team that had a Super Bowl hangover.
Yeah, it did. I mean, this game, we can't forget, it was in Tampa Bay, and obviously that enthusiastic crowd that we saw a week before, they were still there, but obviously these injuries were eventually going to catch up to this Bucs team, and we saw it versus the Rams. But speaking of Tom Brady, obviously now his season has come to an end, so there are numerous questions now surrounding what his future may be. He hasn't released anything official about what his plans to do. He's hinted at, he's put out his normal cryptic posts and whatnot. People try and find answers to some of his social media posts. But Eric, what do you think the future holds for Tom Brady after failing to get back to the Super Bowl this year?
He has a podcast that he talked on like right after, I think on Monday, an episode released, and he was talking, and I was just reading other stuff about it. I didn't actually listen to myself, but quotes from him, he was talking in the past tense. He was talking about the accomplishments that he has done. Right. And that's not what Brady did up to this point. He was always looking at the present or the future, or the accomplishments that he could get in the future, and like next year or the following years. And I know he's talked about playing to 45, but I think there's a much better chance of him actually retiring than people may want to admit themselves. He has a family that he's missed part of his kids' lives, and I feel like he's at the mountaintop. I know it's not the best way to go out, but he's at the mountaintop, and sometimes his family has given so much to him. I think he's starting to feel like he needs to give so much back to them and be there because I think his son, his eldest, I think it's near high school age.
Something like that, yeah.
Near high school age. So that's, I mean, you miss middle school, you miss elementary school. Yeah. His daughter is starting to be like become a kid,
Right.
not just a toddler anymore.
Right.
So, and then the middle son also is, I believe, in elementary school. So and he said he talked about how Giselle, his wife, is really hates to see him taking. I mean, and he took a good lick.
Yeah.
He had a busted lip and stuff like that.
Yes.
So, and I don't think Giselle enjoyed seeing that, and she's been seeing that for over a decade now.
Right.
So I think family is going to be a much bigger factor than prior years, and I think it's more than a 50% chance. It's closer to like a 50% chance of him actually retiring. He may play one more year, and if he does, it may not be with the Bucs. It could be with his favorite team, the 49ers. We'll end up with we know the 49ers want to move off of Garoppolo. It gives Trey Lance another year to sit behind, and he's going to learn from the greatest QB of all time. And Brady gets one more chance with a really good squad.
Yeah.
Really good defense, really good offense. They're in the NFC Championship. Kyle Shanahan, I think, would love to have Brady because they're not a throwing the ball team.
Right.
They're more run first. That's Brady's favorite team growing up. Both of his parents are in the San Fran area, and they're getting older with age, so he may want to be around them more.
Right.
There's a lot of factors that could, I think, I'm not saying it's a 33% split between retirement, Bucs, and then another team, which I'm saying the 49ers.
Right.
I think it's not a clean split like that. I think the Bucs are probably second in ranking. I don't know which comes first, retirement or a different team. But the Bucs are in that second slot. They're not first, and I don't know what the percentage is, but they're not in first. The Bucs are not in first place.
Well, I disagree. I mean, Tom Brady's still, I believe, under contract with the Bucs for one more season. And I get the aspects surrounding his life outside of football because that's very important. You see, he talks about it on his new series that released on ESPN Plus, Man in the Arena, where he goes into some of the big moments that he's missed spending time with family and some of the things he's missed out on just because when it's football season, that's his primary focus. That's his job. I mean, he has a goal every year, and that's to win a Super Bowl. I just don't see him retiring, let alone even changing teams. I mean, everything has been going right in Tampa Bay. Obviously, this year didn't go as expected, but they won a Super Bowl in his first year in Tampa Bay. He's playing at an extremely high level. He's going to be in the MVP, top two, potentially top MVP vote getter. From a playing aspect, he has not really lost a step even as he continues to age, and I just don't see him walking away from the game losing like he did. Obviously, it's going to be very hard for him to lose out on top, but I think that Tom Brady wants to go out with a better place on the football field rather than just losing in the divisional round.
That's why I think retirement is bigger than people think, a bigger choice than people think. But the thing with the Bucs is I don't think Brady likes the culture here now. The Buccaneers are more of a fun, let's go take a boat ride on our off days type of organization. Right. That's how they've always been, compared to Tom Brady, who is very serious, all about football. He wants to win. He doesn't give a damn about going on boat rides on his day off. You know what he wants to do? He wants to study on his days off, even. Then that's not what the Bucs are about. And I think you can see that from the game. Yeah. You can see that from the game on Sunday. They were not prepared. Brady was prepared. Brady was doing everything that he could, but injury stacked up. And then also Mike Evans was dropping balls. Gronk was dropping balls. And I think the Super Bowl did that to them because Brady was like, I can help we have a good roster. I'm the final piece. Let's win this. And once they did, now they think that they are the king of the hill for as long as Brady is here. But it's not. You can't just expect that. And I think Brady may be skeptical now of the culture that he is in. And I don't know if he would enjoy doing that for another year.
I disagree. I think that he's totally embraced this culture in Tampa, and I think that like we're seeing like this version of Tampa Tom that we wouldn't have ever saw in New England, a totally different side to him, and he seems like he's enjoying himself more than ever. I mean, obviously there's still that pressure on him to carry this team to a Super Bowl every year, and he's delivered. But I think the other side of him, there's other side of his personality that we never got to see. I think he's fully embraced the kind of team that the Bucs are and the kind of culture that they have. And I think he thoroughly enjoys it. That's why I don't see him leaving. I mean, we saw him, especially in the Super Bowl parade. Obviously, he was pretty hammered, throwing the Lombardi Trophy off. Just actions like that you wouldn't see from the more reserved Tom Brady we saw back in New England. He's playing at an extremely high level, and he's having fun at the same time. And he's still that same Tom Brady where it's his biggest focus to, get that strategy, get that game plan right. And I think obviously his teammates are probably experiencing a little bit of a Super Bowl hangover because some of them have never done it before. But this is the type of thing where they have to learn, like, you can't just accept that they're going to get back every year. You got to continue to work at it. And I think it's good to have someone like Tom Brady who's been there, done that, to convey that message to the players.
The thing is that I get Tom Brady has been enjoying himself because he was in a system that didn't really allow you to enjoy yourself for too long. And I think he enjoyed that for the time being, but I think he now realizes that's not good. If I want to continue to win championships, that's not the type of culture I need to be in that just celebrates. It continues to celebrate even after a Super Bowl win almost a year ago now.
Right.
That's not the type of culture that wins multiple Super Bowls like the Patriots system. And then also, it's not just on Brady to push these guys. It's also on the coach. Bruce Arians is a relaxed style coach. He's not Bill Belichick.
Right.
Brady can't convince every single guy by himself. He needs the head honcho guy to convince and get on their ass like Belichick does. And that's just not what that's not the type of coach Arian really is. He's not as intense as Bill Belichick.
Well, is Kyle Shanahan that guy?
I think so. More so than Bruce Arians, I do. I definitely think so. And I think Brady can enjoy himself just as much, maybe even more, because he'll be back in his hometown in San Fran if he chooses to go there. I think he'd enjoy it even more, and I think that they care more because they're still less of a party town than Tampa is. They'll be more intense, and I would be surprised if they end up winning the Super Bowl this year. I don't think they will, but they'll be that close to where they'll still be really hungry, and Brady would love that hunger from possibly his last year.
I just don't see that from a 49ers perspective, wanting to trade for Tom Brady, because you've given Trey Lance this year.
I think it's an option.
I just don't see it as an option. I think you've given Trey Lance this full year to be the understudy for Jimmy Garoppolo, and they want to see what Trey Lance can do. There's only so many years on a rookie contract before you figure out what the future is at QB. Obviously, if they were to acquire Tom Brady, he would not be their long-term answer. Obviously, that's Trey Lance, and I think it's very important to get Trey Lance out there playing as soon as possible. I just think that Tom Brady, his two options, in my opinion, are to continue playing with the Bucs or to retire. In my opinion, I give Tom Brady a 60% chance to, actually probably close to 70% chance to stay with the Bucs, and a 30% chance to retire. I know your percentages are a little bit different than mine, but I just think that he's continuing to play at this high level. And I think that the way the Tampa Bay Buccaneers are structured, I think it's been working for Tom Brady. I think a lot of teams experience Super Bowl hangovers, and I think this is the type of thing where going into next year, that'll be really telling how the players respond.
I mean, he has 1 year on his contract. He could then just retire.
It would be very hard to move him while he's still under contract. You really could see the Buccaneers trading him. if I know he could probably force his way to get a trade, but I just
And he can't. It's not player option this year. You're saying
not well.
he does. He
Does
doesn't.
he have any clauses in his contract that?
Well, it says if Brady retires after 20. No, that's after 2021. No, this is the 2021 season.
Yeah, this is the 20.
If Brady retires after 2021 season, the Bucs will recuperate 16 million of the signing bonus.
Oh, okay. Well, I just don't see him retiring, let alone go to another team.
I don't. It's just difficult. I think it's either top choice. I think it's possibly a different team or retirement, and then it's the Bucs. I just do. Especially he's contemplating retirement right now. Let's take that seriously.
Oh yeah, he is.
It's not like prior years. This is actually there's a real possibility that this man retires this year. And if he does, then this is going to be his last year. This upcoming season, the 2022 season, will probably be his final year as an NFL player.
So you don't think this was his final year? You think he has?
If he chooses to come back,
yeah.
Next year will be his final year.
Right.
He hit his goal of wanting to play till he's 45.
Right.
And I think he's done. Now that's the question. Does he want to play for Tampa or does he want to play somewhere else? Like San Fran's the only other fit. That's the only.
That's why I don't think it's a good fit. I don't. Just because they just drafted Trey Lance and they want to get him in action I don't think he's their future.
I don't think he's ready. And I think
it's been a full year though.
Brady didn't Rodgers wait more than a year? He waited 2.
Rodgers did wait. Yeah, he did wait
behind Brett Favre.
Yeah, no, I get that.
And Trey Lance is very raw.
Right.
It would be very beneficial to the 49ers organization if he could spend a year behind the greatest QB of all time.
Right.
And I think Brady knows he knows this is if he goes to 49ers, I'm just going to be here for a year. I'm just going to be here for a year. I'm going to teach this kid everything I know.
Right.
He's not going to be holding information. I don't think Brady's the type of guy to do that anyways.
No.
But he wouldn't have any reason to because he knows this is going to be my final year. Let me give this kid all I know, help him refine his craft so he can be successful with this organization that I grew up loving.
Yeah, I get what you're saying. I would be very surprised if he goes to the 49ers. I would be very surprised if he retires. I get with all the things. He's taken so many hits and he's 45 years old. It's a almost 45-year-old playing out there, getting hit by guys in their 20s, 30s, and obviously he wants to spend more time with his family, which is totally understandable. I just think that there is going to be a better opportunity to walk away from the game. And I would imagine that when he does decide to retire, he's going to announce he's retiring prior to his final season. I don't think he's going to just
I don't think he's all for that farewell tour.
I don't think he's.
But that if he announced that, he's getting it, and I don't think he's gonna like that. So I think he'd keep it under wraps about like, this is my final season, but I do not want to announce it.
Right.
Because I don't think he likes that type of press of like farewell tour, because then it's not all about football.
Right.
And if he comes back for another year, he wants it just to be about football because he doesn't want to have to focus on anything else.
Yeah.
I'm just saying, I would not be surprised if he retires. I would not be surprised if he stays with the Bucs. I also am not going to be surprised if he goes to the 49ers or another team.
Yeah, I won't be surprised if he retires. I would be very surprised if he goes to the 49ers. Obviously my expectation is that he remains a Tampa Bay Buccaneer. That's what I believe is going to be the case. I just think they have all. Well, obviously, we'll see what happens with guys like Chris Godwin, and they have a bunch of
agents.
That's the thing.
They can't sign.
Right. That's the thing. That'll be extremely important, probably in Tom Brady's decision to decide whether he retires or whether he tries to force his way out onto another team. But yeah, this is probably going to be a big story throughout the offseason.
I think that at most, he has one more year. I think it's either he's done or he has one more year. That is it. I do not see him playing possibly after the 2022
I agree.
season.
I think it's either now he's done or one more year. I think those are the only options.
So let's cherish it, guys.
Let's cherish it.
Because we'll see. Let's see if he can end up on top like Peyton Manning did in his final year. But that was a long talk about Tom Brady.
Let's talk about that other Sunday night game.
With the rising QBs that are going to be here for a next decade.
Yes. What a game.
Josh Allen, Patrick Mahomes, arguably at the moment, the two best QBs in the AFC, arguably two of the top 5 QBs in the entire NFL. Yep. They go head to head in what feels like what should have been the Super Bowl. Yeah.
I mean, for most of that game, I was looking at the under hitting because until there was about 2 minutes left in the fourth quarter, the under was looking pretty good. And that number was under 54.5. But obviously, one of these teams almost scored 54 points. Obviously, the final score was 42-36 in the Chiefs' favor. But yeah, I mean, both quarterbacks played at an unreal level. You couldn't have asked from a better game from the Bills and Josh Allen. Maybe you could talk a little bit about their defense giving up, especially that final drive in the fourth quarter to set them up for a game-tying field goal. We'll first talk about the play to Tyreek Hill. The defense that the Bills were playing, that prevent defense.
I've always said it. I hate prevent defense. Yeah. I despise it because it's easy check down stuff. And when you give the ball to Tyreek Hill, he can run 20 yards in like 3 seconds.
Yeah, exactly. And Travis Kelce saw that on the previous play. And there was a soundbite that came out that Travis Kelce talked to Patrick Mahomes right before that play, saying that he was going to go right through the seams of the field. And that's what he did. There was an opening there just because the Bills were playing that same prevent defense. He got enough yards to put them in field goal range. And obviously they got to overtime. The Chiefs got the ball first. They scored. Obviously that's a whole nother debate about the NFL's overtime rules. But Eric, what did you see from both of these quarterbacks in this one?
I do have to say, I think Josh Allen performed better.
I agree.
As the game. I think he just had a better game overall. I think this is the reincarnation of Brady and Manning.
Yeah. Yep.
I do see it's gonna be that. Josh Allen's he's going to get his soon. It's
gonna be tough.
Soon, I get that, but like Peyton Manning did get his
right
at one point. Josh Allen has a good team. He has a good team around him. At one point, he will get his, but right now, it's just Patrick Mahomes has better players and has the better coach match with him than Josh Allen and Sean McDermott. But it's gonna be like that. Mahomes is probably gonna turn into in this analogy is gonna be like the Brady. Allen's gonna be like the Manning. Yeah. But Allen, 4 TD day, pretty much immaculate. You couldn't ask him to do any better. Also Mahomes, a 3 TD day, did pretty damn well himself.
Both quarterbacks had a good amount of yardage on the ground as well. They led their teams in rushing yards.
Yeah, I really feel bad for Josh Allen. And Stephon Diggs, even though Stephon Diggs did not show up in this game.
No.
Instead, Gabriel Davis
broke a playoff record for touchdowns in a postseason game.
Had all 4 of Josh Allen's TDs.
Most of those were on blown coverages by the Chiefs, but still,
what's that fantasy score?
That is 52, I think.
54.
54.
Yeah, 54.
54.
Wait, right?
I thought it was 52. 20,
no, it's 52.
28
52.
plus 24. Yeah,
52. Still, oh my God.
Still, either way, if we were still playing fantasy football at this point of the season, if you had Gabriel Davis on your team, you would have probably won. But it was a It was definitely the best game of the playoffs so far. I don't know if we'll see a better game than this for the remainder of the way. I think these were the two best teams
Yes.
in the playoffs though.
And it showed up spectacularly. Both these teams showed up on the offensive side. It was amazing to watch. But we have to talk about OT. The rules need to be changed.
Definitely.
Because back in 2018, the Chiefs got screwed.
Right.
With not getting the ball and against New England, led by Tom Brady, and they scored on their first drive and lost, and the Chiefs lost the game. Now they got favored. Right. And Josh Allen got screwed. Yeah. It needs to change. It's just not fair. It's not good television either.
No. Watching the TV and just seeing Josh Allen stand on the sideline, knowing that he may not get the ball back after what he did throughout the game is just
right when they lost the coin flip. I knew the Chiefs were going to win because neither defense was stopping them. Right. And mind you, the Bills' defense was top 5 in the league against QBs. So that just shows how good the Chiefs offense and Patrick Mahomes were doing against the Bills defense. But I knew right when they lost the flip, I was like, all right, this is game over. I do not see the Bill after the Bills just gave up, what was it, like 50 yards in 13 seconds. Yeah. And I don't see the Chiefs being stopped after that. So I was just like, it's over.
Well, here's the thing. I mean, I think the biggest thing that the NFL needs to do in regards to changing these overtime rules is whatever the rules are, just give each team a chance to get down to the end zone and score, whether it's a little bit like the college rules or just give each team an opportunity to score. Just something that we don't get that feeling leaving like what could have been if that other team had gotten a chance to get the ball.
Each quarter is 12 minutes long.
15 minutes
long. All right. Make overtime just a simple 7 minutes. You play it out.
Right.
First OT.
Yeah.
Hell, first OT. Let's just exclusively change OT rules in the playoffs if we want. All right. We don't have to get too cute with it. Right. We don't have to change regular season because ties, it's fine, I guess. Yeah. But in OT in the postseason, first 7 minutes of OT. All right. Let's just play normal football, right? Let's say we still end up in a tie. Then let's go to college rules and just bing, bang, bing, boom, bang, like each starting on the opposing 20, and you got to score a TD.
It's pretty simple. I mean, I think after the Chiefs lost on the same rule to the Patriots back in 2018, they proposed to make this change to give each team an opportunity. But for some reason, the NFL owners decided not to allow that. I think the opposing argument towards this has been that why didn't the defense show up? But I mean, when you have both teams as explosive as an offense as you can get, like the factor shouldn't be the defense in the game. It should be coming down to the offense.
Maybe just change the rules for the postseason. That's fine.
Yeah.
Maybe that's all we need. It makes for better television because there's more offense. I just don't understand it. It just takes the ball out of the best player's hand.
Exactly.
Josh Allen was the best player on that field. He did not even have a chance to prove himself.
Patrick Mahomes was the best player on the field back in 2018. And he didn't get the ball. So
exactly. So it's just taking the ball out of the best player's hands on the field, and I don't get it. It makes no sense. But yeah, that was a long talk about the last week.
Well, yeah. Now let's look ahead now at the conference championship games. We have two games that are still going to be very great. One divisional game, which you don't often see much with the 49ers and Rams playing. That will be the night game. But the first game on Sunday is going to be the Bengals going ahead to Kansas City to play the Chiefs. The Chiefs are right now favored by 7 points. Eric, what are you looking for in this matchup?
What am I looking for? I'm looking for Joe Burrow here. I see this as, again, I don't see as much as an offensive game as last week for the Chiefs versus Bills. But this is probably going to be another offensive game, a probable shootout.
What do you think of the line at the moment?
7 points. Bills did beat the Chiefs.
Yeah.
They beat them.
Right.
So I would take the under. In honesty, I would probably take the under. I think, but like 7's good. I could see it just being a TD game.
Yeah, I mean, last time these two teams played, the Bengals did win. This game was in Cincinnati, though. I think the Chiefs want their revenge badly, and this is the perfect place to take revenge. The biggest question mark with this Bengals team is just the lack of experience in these types of games. Obviously, the Chiefs have plenty of experience in this type of game. I think the line is a very good line. Like I think there's a great possibility the Chiefs win by 10 plus points, but there's also a possibility it comes down to a field goal.
Yeah.
Just you don't know what you're gonna get from this Bengals team. You know what you're gonna get from the Chiefs offense, and the Chiefs defense is probably not gonna show up again. That's just the nature of that team. But
we gotta admit, Chiefs defense could easily go at this Bengals O-line.
That's right.
Because Joe Burrow set his own, or I'm not going to put this on Joe Burrow. The offensive line for the Bengals set their own record by having Joe Burrow sacked nine times.
I think that'll be the difference in this game. If the Bengals, which they probably won't be able to protect Joe Burrow.
I get that, but Joe Burrow got sacked 9 times.
He got sacked 9 times, but Ryan Tannehill threw 3 interceptions. Yes. I don't see Patrick Mahomes throwing 3 interceptions on the other side of the ball. If I was betting on this game, I would take the Chiefs to cover, though.
Yeah, I'm starting to get the feeling of like, don't bet against Joe Shiesty.
I know.
Joe Burr. Don't. No. I'm starting to get that feeling.
I know.
It's
a tough one. It really is. I think the Bengals are set for a great future. This will not be their year. Like, that's another team that the Bills are going to have to worry about in the future.
Yeah.
The Bengals, maybe the Chargers, if they get their act together. Obviously, the Chiefs will be around for the immediate future.
The Broncos can get a QB.
That's the thing. Like,
AFC is I'll admit, Brady got out at the right time because the year after he left, oh my God.
He saw it coming once Mahomes started to show up and Josh Allen was getting into the league.
I know. He's like, oh my God, this is a gauntlet. I mean, if you look at the NFC, there's nobody.
The Saints are just going to be
there's Aaron Rodgers, Matthew Stafford, Russell Wilson, all right? But Stafford and Wilson are beating up on each other. NFC East got nobody. AFC South has nobody except Brady.
Yeah.
NFC North has nobody except Rodgers.
Right.
Got
Kyler Murray.
Murray. But in the
quarterbacks in both conferences, it's not even close.
It's not. The AFC is
potentially Rodgers will be in the AFC, so that'll even shift the balance even more.
Yeah. If I will say this, if Rodgers somehow gets traded to the AFC, like to the Broncos, Brady's coming back because there's really no competition QB wise in the NFC for Brady.
Wow. For all of my lifetime, it's been the NFC has been the dominant conference, and now we're starting to see a shift.
Yeah.
On to the next game though.
The NFC matchup is the 49ers versus the Rams. 49ers. No, I mean, you couldn't even imagine them beating the Packers.
Right.
Like, no one could except this one guy. I will say, I came across a TikTok that this guy here, I got to bring it up just for the stats favorites. All right. This guy picked the Bengals, 49ers, Rams, and Chiefs. All right. Bet $5,000.
Right.
Since he got all 4 winners correct, he won $160K from that.
Wow.
It's really that 49ers game that you're realistically risking $5K on.
Yeah.
Because you could see the Bengals could win.
Right.
The Rams, the Chiefs, of course. It was the 49ers. No one saw at all winning that game.
Well, I think the one stat that was maybe a little bit telling that the 49ers had a good chance, just their history against Aaron Rodgers in the playoffs. Now Rodgers is 0-4 against the Packers, but we have another divisional matchup. This is the 3rd time these teams will be playing this year. The 49ers have beaten them the first 2 meetings, and the Rams will look to get their revenge. They're 3.5 point favorites at home. In LA, you got Matthew Stafford versus Jimmy Garoppolo. What do you think about this game?
It may be a field goal game because I get Jimmy G is not a great all-time great quarterback, but the man wins.
Yeah.
The man just wins.
Yeah.
You can't explain it. He has I don't think he has more than 2 losses in the playoffs.
I know.
It's weird, man. It's just like, and like he can just win you games, but he doesn't do it in amazing fashion like these other QBs, like Joe Burrow, like Patrick Mahomes, like Matthew Stafford. And then there's Jimmy Garoppolo, who just wins games, and you're like, how the hell? So, I mean, I could see this as a field goal game, and I'm going to go with the Rams, but just I mean, Jimmy has been in a Super Bowl before. Let's not forget that.
Yeah.
He's been in a Super Bowl.
Yeah. That's one thing he can say that Matthew Stafford cannot say.
Yeah.
Jimmy G has been in a Super Bowl. However, I don't think he gets back to a Super Bowl. I think the Rams do win this game. That line is great. I mean,
you think it's divisional game.
The 49ers won by a field goal last time these two teams played. And
yeah.
I really think it's going to come down to a field goal.
I will say the X factor, the biggest X factor out of any of these games is for the 49ers, and it's for Deebo Samuel.
Mm-hmm.
If he doesn't have they go as Deebo goes.
Right.
Deebo is the heart and soul of this team. I mean, he is just very unique. Yeah. He is he is Cordell Patterson juiced.
Yes.
And like extremely good.
And I think another thing we have to look at is if Jimmy Garoppolo makes any mistakes, that could end up being the downfall for this 49ers team, because he has to be able to protect the ball. Obviously, he's going to have to get the ball to his playmakers like Deebo Samuel, like George Kittle. I just think the Rams have more firepower on both sides of the ball, and I just think that it's very hard to beat a team 3 times in one season.
It is.
And I just don't. I know we all said this about the 49ers beating the Packers. We just don't see it happening. I'm going to say it again. I don't see the 49ers beating the Rams.
But they have a formula that has worked to beat the Rams. They stick to it, and if the Rams cannot adjust, then there's a chance the 49ers are to the Super Bowl as a 10-7 team. That was the 6th seed, correct?
Yeah, and if they didn't come back and beat the Rams in that last weekend, we wouldn't have even seen them in the playoffs. So all I can say is I just don't want to see another 49ers Chiefs Super Bowl. Anything else I'm fine with. But
what's the most interesting? I think Bengals 49ers would be like, what the hell happened? Because they're both 10-7. You're looking at that like, what happened this playoffs? Everyone's brackets would be messed up. I mean, they already are messed up.
Well, I will say the one person in our bracket challenge that actually have the 49ers in the Super Bowl is Lindsay.
Yeah,
she picked the 49ers to be in the Super Bowl. But my most optimal Super Bowl matchup that I would love to see, it would be the Rams and Chiefs. We saw this way back when these two teams played on Monday Night Football, and it was one of the best regular season games we've ever saw. Obviously, it was Jared Goff versus Patrick Mahomes, but I think from a team perspective, these are the 2 best teams remaining. So I would prefer to see. Wouldn't be mad to see Joe Burrow in the Super Bowl though.
I would enjoy Joe Burrow being in the Super Bowl. I mean, it's something fresh. It's something new. I like that. I out of the most matchups, I like to see Bengals 49ers.
Okay, because
you're just like, it's yucky.
Yeah, those 2 teams played during the regular season as well, and I believe the 49ers beat the Bengals in overtime 26-23 back in December. So
I mean, just uniqueness and like just new. It'd be interesting, especially with having the Bengals there.
Right.
If you have the Bengals there versus the 49ers or Rams, just the Bengals that being there is something new and interesting. All right.
I think the Bengals-Rams matchup would also be a very good one as well.
I think that'd be very good.
I just think just because Jimmy Garoppolo is such a boring player, it just won't be.
I know, but that's what makes it funny. You're just like, how the hell? How did the 49ers get here? And like, I get the Bengals are good, but no one saw them getting to the Super Bowl possibly.
No, but they proved a lot of people wrong this year.
I know.
Yeah.
So I mean, prefer. I'd like to see Bengals 49ers. Just
Okay.
sicko.
I get it. I really do. But we'll have to see.
All right, wait. So we're going.
Yeah.
Okay. So I think I have this right. A sound bite.
Okay.
It's gonna make the sound of. Okay, there we go. I got it. Nice little cash register time because it's betting time.
It's betting time.
It is betting time.
Why don't you start us off, Eric, with your...
Oh, I didn't. I gotta see. What
Eric's
I have.
unprepared, so that means I will get us started for our...
Whoa, wait. I saw one. Right?
No, I'll start right now.
No,
I have mine right here.
I see it. I see it. All right. Either Tyreek Hill, Travis Kelce, or Jamar Chase to have 125 plus yards, receiving yards. One of them has to get it.
That's a lot of receiving yards.
That's one of them. Tyreek had 150
I know. But...
against a good Bills defense.
Okay. I think 125 is a lot, but what's the odds on that one?
It's plus 150.
Okay.
What did Jamar have? Jamar had 109.
Okay.
I have 3 chances.
I think the biggest chance for that to hit would be Tyreek Hill, obviously. Yeah. Then I would say Chase and then Kelce in that order of getting one. Obviously, only need one.
Yep.
But I'm gonna piggyback off of that one. Another one that involves Tyreek Hill. Either Cooper Kupp or Tyreek Hill will have a 50+ yard touchdown reception.
Whoa.
Plus 250 odds for that to happen. Obviously a 50-yard catch is one thing. We're probably going to see that from one of them, but I have a feeling that Tyreek Hill is going to get loose for a long touchdown, whether it's just a nice deeply thrown ball by Mahomes or a ball where Tyreek Hill catches and he uses his speed, just like we saw against the Bills in that game last weekend. So that's my first favorite bet of the week.
This one is plus 500.
Okay.
Plus 5. So this is a hit big, but it could happen. Each team has to score 1+ rushing TD in conference final games.
Okay. Give me a player that's going to score off the top of that you think is going to score.
Joe Mixon.
Okay.
Clyde Edwards-Helaire.
Okay.
Elijah Mitchell or Deebo Samuel.
Okay.
And then probably Cam Akers.
Right. Okay. Probably think so. You think all the running backs?
I think the running backs.
Okay.
Because like Bengals, Mixon has been consistently been able to score rushing TDs.
Right.
Chiefs, when they're getting down there, they do like to run the ball.
They do.
They do enjoy running the ball. 49ers, they're run dependent with Elijah Mitchell or Deebo.
Right.
It doesn't matter. And then it's really the Rams. Cam Akers was 1 yard away from scoring a rushing TD before fumbling it. And I also have Sony Michel too. But Cam Akers, I know he had a really bad week with 2 fumbles, but that's not going to happen again.
Right.
And he has shown that he is good soon. So I for plus 500, you tell me I bet $1 I could win 50.
Yeah.
For that?
Yeah,
that's pretty good. That's a big
it is. That I totally agree. I like that one a lot. It has a very good chance of happening. My next bet that I like for this week is going to be that give me plus 135 odds that Odell Beckham Jr. will score a touchdown in the game against the 49ers. He already has 1 touchdown this postseason, and he has kind of rejuvenated his career in Los Angeles. I think that both Cooper Kupp and Odell will bring down touchdowns in this one, and I like this bet a lot. It gets you nice, quick, easy money.
What was that again? I'm sorry.
Odell Beckham Jr. plus 135 to score a touchdown at any time. Just one. All I need.
He could throw one too.
Throw one, run for one, catch one.
Oh wow. Okay.
Fumble return for one.
Fumble return for one. I'm looking here. Now I'm getting to like the 10.
I can get to my third one while you're looking.
Yeah. Get to your third one.
So this one's my favorite one. Actually, it's my second favorite one. My favorite one's my next one, which Eric's going to be very happy about. Plus 470 for Von Miller to record 1+ sack, Matthew Stafford to have 2+ passing touchdowns, and Cam Akers to have 1+ rushing touchdown.
That's a lot.
It's a lot to
That's a
happen.
lot.
I do think that Matthew Stafford's going to have 2 passing touchdowns. I do think Cam Akers is going to have a rushing touchdown. I think the biggest one that I'm not sure will happen will be the Von Miller sack. That's the one that this bet will be riding on. Plus 470 odds. So obviously, if I bet $1, I would get $47 to win on that one. So give me this bet as I just lost my train of thought because I'm looking at this next bet that Eric's going to talk.
I just found this one: Deebo Samuel to have 1+ receiving touchdown, 1+ rushing touchdown for a plus 800.
I mean, but it is hard to do though. He's done it in multiple games this season,
But he has the opportunities.
he does.
That's what you look for. Is he has plenty of opportunities to make that happen. All right. I'm putting $1 down and I get $80 back
Yeah.
for that.
Why not?
For
Why not?
that?
Place it right now, Eric. Actually, no, don't. It's Florida. Can't bet in Florida. That's illegal.
Can't. Yeah. Come on.
I like that.
These are so. This is give me money.
Or my final one. This is totally off script. This isn't on any sports book at the moment. It doesn't even have anything to do with any of the games this weekend. Doesn't even have anything to do with any of the NBA games, NHL games.
Oh my god.
This is a total this is a futures prop, and the over under is set at 2 years, and this is about the Giants GM Joe Schoen, I think that's how you pronounce it.
Yeah, showing.
The over under, I'm setting the over under at him staying with this team for 2 years.
Just stop.
And I'm going to take the under. I think Joe. I mean,
Dave Gettleman stayed here for 3 goddamn years.
They think,
and he didn't have anything to prove.
John Mayer and the Giants think they found their new GM, and they're just basing this off the fact that he helped a little bit out with the Buffalo Bills.
Helped.
It was really all Brandon Beane that made all those
Beane
decisions.
gave so much credit to him. Just watch the interviews. He was saying, our draft board.
But in the end, Brandon Beane's the one to make those selections. He doesn't have to listen to Joe Schoen if he wants. I think the Giants are destined for more.
Joe came up with the trade to go move up and get Josh Allen.
And I understand that, but now he is going to be the sole person. He's going to be leading this Giants organization. He was Brandon Beane's second-hand man. Brandon Beane was making the final decision. I think to give someone that has never had a GM role up to this point all of that power, even with some of the moves that he has supposedly made. I think it's a poor hire for the Giants. And by the way, I'll tell you another reason why this is a poor hire. Let me tell you why. The Giants GM Joe Schoen said that the front office will build an offense to accentuate what Daniel Jones does best. I don't see anything that Daniel Jones does best. I think it's wrong to even want to keep Daniel Jones when he clearly has not really shown anything to be a franchise quarterback.
You seriously think it's a bad hire?
I do.
Bad hire.
Yeah, I do. I think there were better options out there. Like the Browns.
The Browns.
Vice president of player personnel. I wish I could pronounce his name, but it's not really a great name to pronounce.
Browns who got Baker Mayfield.
But Baker Mayfield wasn't drafted under his watch. He was with the 49ers before the Browns, and he drafted.
Guess what? They are keeping him. They kept him.
Nick Bosa.
They kept him.
Drafted Nick Bosa with the 49ers.
They kept him.
They drafted in this past year's draft. They drafted Jeremiah Owusu-Koramoah, and last year Jedrick Wills.
That is awful.
Awful.
That is awful.
I don't know. This is
a bad hire.
From what I've
so extreme. In under 2 years,
Dave
Gettleman messed up this organization and got to stay for 3. and you think that they're gonna just keep him for 2?
I think he's gonna somehow just mishandle this Giants roster. And
There's nothing that makes you think. What could make you even think that after the work that he did?
I
with
think
the Bills?
that comment right there saying that they want to build
because
around
you're gonna
Daniel
keep him
Jones.
for a year. So of course you want to make him succeed.
Right. How about this? Let's set the over under at 3. I'm still taking the under. I say sticks around for 2 years.
That's absurd.
2 years.
That's absurd. There's no reason to make you think that he is going to do a bad job. That quote, it was just because they're going to have to stay with Daniel Jones because there's no good QBs on the market and there's no good outstanding QBs in the draft. So of course they're going to have to stick with him for his 5th-year option so they don't have to go out and spend draft capital to get a new QB.
Yeah, I just think that obviously a lot of
after the work he did with the Bills.
Yeah,
he was a part of that.
He was a part of it, but not the sole reason for why.
But he was a part. He was a big part of it, and
we don't know if he was or not.
Bean has given him a lot of credit in multiple interviews. That's
just him, trying to help his friend out get a job.
That's not helping his friend.
That's what it is.
No, because you know why? Because they worked together in Carolina, went separate for 7 years, and then Bean reached out to him to get him as his assistant GM. That shows how good of a job Joe does.
I will have to see him. He's never been in this role. The highest title has been an assistant GM. He's been.
I want someone that isn't a retread.
I get that. But there's probably guys, even guys that haven't held that GM title after yet that have proven a lot more than Joe Schoen has proven. And I think his decision to want to stick with someone like Daniel Jones, when clearly he is not the answer for a franchise quarterback.
I promise you. Over under 2 years with Daniel Jones being
3. Let's set it at 3. Oh, Daniel Jones.
Okay. Under. He will be here for 1 more year, and then Joe will move off. Just because our draft capital, our cap space, is horrendous because of Dave Gettleman. So however this Giants team performs this year, you cannot put that on Joe because he has nothing to work with other than picks, which are good picks. All right.
Well, I think his tenure is going to be largely defined by his picks in this upcoming draft. The coach he hires. I think that's all.
He's going to bring in Brian Dablow.
I think all of these decisions.
He's going to bring him in. I bet you.
He's going to be picking the guys that you aren't expecting him to pick, and that's going to be
with the 5th and 7th pick. I promise you, it's going to be an edge and a tackle. Okay. I promise you.
You can promise me that, but you don't know. You don't know.
I promise you, it will be an edge. It will be an edge. Or it'll just be two offensive linemen. It will be either or.
And I think whoever they decide to hire as their head coach, it's not going to be anyone that we've heard of in the conversation.
It's going to be Brian.
It's not going to be Brian.
It's going to be Brian.
It's not going to be Brian Flores.
It's going to be that.
It's not going to be any of those names that we think. It's not going to be Dan Quinn.
I can't wait.
Be some guy that has just flown under the radar.
No,
you're saying it's going to be the type of coach that goes one and done. And that's going to define
get clickbait. You're saying that to get
clickbait. That's
clickbait.
not true.
That is.
That's what I believe.
I bet you.
Look at my notes. Look at my notes.
You don't have notes.
Look at my notes.
You never have notes. You never have notes, just like I. I bet you next week when we record, the Giants will have either Brian Flores or Brian Dablow. Dable.
I disagree, but
I bet you, and you're gonna have to get on that mic and you're gonna have to apologize for the stuff you said.
I disagree. I strongly believe that any of the names that we've heard mentioned linking to the Giants are not going to be one of the names that we see hired as head coach.
I bet you it's Brian.
And whoever they hire, it's going to be a Joe Judge type guy that they hire. It will be a guy that
shake my hand right now. That whenever they hire someone, it will be Brian Flores or Brian Dable. Okay. Or a big name guy that is an offensive coordinator. It will not be a Joe Judge type.
I'm taking the field. You're saying Brian Dable, Brian Flores, or an offensive
or defensive coordinator for a different team. You have anything.
Well, that's like everybody though. I mean, I don't think they're going to hire another special teams coach. I mean, let's.
All right, I'll minimize it. Brian Dable or Brian Flores or Dan Quinn.
Okay,
they'll hire
the field. I'm taking the field.
Shake my hand right now. All right.
Okay.
And if you get this wrong, you have to apologize and regret for everything you just said now.
That is fine. It's just what I believe, and I'm going to say what I believe.
Okay.
All right. Episode 39.
Episode 39, guys.
We hope you enjoyed. We'll see y'all next week. You'll see Jet apologize for the
I won't be
absurdity that he
apologizing.
said.
I'm just
Sorry
speaking
for the
facts.
clickbait.
I'm just.
I'm
speaking
so
facts.
sorry for the clickbait, guys. All right. See y'all next week. Peace out.